Here at Old Time Radio USA, you'll hear episodes from such classic radio series like
Maxwell House Coffee Time, starring George Burns and Gracie Allen.
Night Beat,
The Whistler,
The Lone Ranger, The Falcon, Suspense,
The Great Gildersleeve, The Jack Benny Program, The Johnson Wax Program with Fibber McGee and Molly.
For these and many more, stay tuned to Old Time Radio USA for more great classics. You can listen anywhere, on your computer or any mobile device like your smartphone or tablet. You can also listen on our official Roku channel from the comfort of your favorite chair. Now, if you want more information on this station, go to www.oldtimeradiousa.com right now to learn more. And thank you for listening.
Mutual presents The Mysterious Traveler. This is The Mysterious Traveler, inviting you to join me on another journey into the realm of the strange and the terrifying. I hope you will enjoy the trip, that it will thrill you a little and chill you a little. So settle back and get a good grip on your nerves, if you can. Where are we going? Well, let us say for the moment, we're taking a little trip into time in a story I call New Year's Nightmare. As the old year entered its last minute, the crowds at the Club Tropicana were waiting expectantly for the clock to strike midnight. At a ringside table, a lovely young woman angrily whispers to the man with her.
Chris, if you take another drink, I'll leave.
Oh, Judy, this is New Year's Eve. It'll be 1947 in another minute. Gotta celebrate, don't I? Just one more.
Just one more, just one more. That's what you always say. I wouldn't mind if it were just tonight, but you're always getting drunk.
Waiter, another bottle of champagne.
Nothing I say means anything to you, does it? You think because I've forgiven you a dozen times in the past, I'll do it again. But you're wrong, Chris.
Happy New Year, darling. 1947 is going to be our year.
No, Chris, it isn't. I won't marry a man who gets drunk in New York and wakes up the next day in another city.
Oh, Judy, what are you saying? You don't mean that. You know I love you.
Yes, Chris, you love me. But not enough to give up drinking. I'll miss you, Chris. Miss you terribly. But I know I'm doing the right thing.
Judy, don't talk like that. I couldn't live without you. You know that. Won't you?
Sorry, Chris. Here's your ring. Will you please take me home?
You don't have to leave. If the sight of my drinking is too much for you, I'll go someplace else and do it. Martin will take you home. Happy New Year, and goodbye.
Finishing that drink, mister. It's 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm dead on my feet.
Sure, I'll drink up. No matter what she says.
That's right. Now you better go home and sleep it off. Good night and a happy 1947 to you.
Thanks. And the same to you. Out. Gotta find another bar. New Year's. Gotta celebrate. Another bar across the street. Oh, gotta celebrate.
Hey, mister, look out for that car. You're gonna get run down if you don't. Look out!
Oh, my head. Oh, it feels so funny. What's that noise? Those horns.
Why, darling, it's midnight. New Year's.
Oh, my head is throbbing so. Where am I? How did I get here?
Why, darling, you live here.
Live here? What are you talking about?
Charles, I'd better call Dr. Smith. You look so strange. Hello? Connect me with Dr. Smith's apartment, please.
I've never seen this place before.
Hello, Doctor? This is Blanche Arnold. Yes, it's Charles. He isn't well. Could you come to our apartment at once? Oh, thank you. Goodbye.
What do you mean, I live here? Who are you? Where am I?
I'm your wife, Charles. This is our home, don't you remember?
You're my wife. You can't be. I'm not married. What am I doing here? What's your game?
Charles, can't you remember anything about us?
What are you talking about? I never saw you before. And why do you keep calling me Charles? My name is Chris. Chris Andrews.
Chris Andrews. So that's what the initial CA stood for.
Oh, that noise out there. What are they making such a racket for?
Because it's midnight, New Year's Eve.
Midnight? New Year's Eve? But it was midnight hours ago when I left the Club Tropicana. What are you talking about?
Oh, that must be Dr. Smith. I'll answer it.
Dr. Smith? I don't know any Dr. Smith.
Oh, come in, Doctor. I'm so glad you're here. I think it's the amnesia. It seems to have left him all of a sudden. Charles? It's Dr. Smith.
I don't know him, and I don't know you. And please stop calling me Charles. I told you my name is Chris Andrews.
Won't you sit down, Mr. Andrews? I'd like to talk with you for a few minutes.
What about?
Tell me, Mr. Andrews, what's the last thing you remember before finding yourself in this apartment?
Why, Judy. She and I were at the Club Tropicana, celebrating New Year's Eve.
I see.
I remember we quarreled about my drinking. I walked out on her and had a few drinks someplace else. That's all I can recall. Oh, my head. I've had hangovers, but I've never felt like this before. What time is it?
It's just 4 minutes after 12.
But it can't be 4 minutes after 12 New Year's Eve. That was hours ago when I left the Tropicana.
Mr. Andrews, that was New Year's Eve, 1947.
What do you mean, that was New Year's Eve, 1947?
This is New Year's Eve, 1948.
1948? What are you talking about? It's 1947.
Well, here's the morning paper. You can see the date for yourself.
Thursday, January 1st, 1948. No, it can't be. It can't be. A year gone? Just like that? Well, where did it go? I haven't lived it yet.
Perhaps you'd better let me clear up a few things for you.
1948.
My name is Smith. I was a resident physician until recently at the Park Hospital. While I was on duty last New Year's Day, 1947, you were brought into the hospital seriously injured, having been run over by a car. When you recovered consciousness 5 days later, you didn't know who you were. You were a victim of amnesia.
Amnesia?
Yes, and we didn't know who you were as you had no identification papers.
But my wallet, letters...
They were gone. The only clue to your identity was a belt buckle with the initials CA on it.
We didn't know your real name, so I called you Charles for the C.
Blanche was your nurse.
I've always liked the name Charles. And as for your last name, we thought Arnold was as good as any, so you became Charles Arnold.
But what have I been doing since the day I recovered consciousness?
Well, you weren't discharged from the hospital until May. Then you went to work as an insurance clerk.
As an insurance clerk? But I don't know anything about being a clerk. I'm a reporter.
Well, there was no way of learning what your occupation had been. So when Blanche learned of this opening in an insurance office, you applied for the position.
And that's where I've been working up to now?
Yes.
And then after you got your job, we were married.
Married?
Charles, Chris, don't you remember?
I'm afraid, Blanche, she really can't.
Married? But Judy... It's like a dream. My head keeps throbbing. I keep expecting to wake up. There's that date in the paper. January 1st, 1948.
Doctor, you said he might never get over his amnesia.
Well, that was a strong possibility, but apparently the sounds of New Year's brought back his memory.
You're going just like that. Judy, my friends, job, all gone. Doctor, where am I? I mean, what's the address of this apartment house?
You're at 5718 North 13th Street, Philadelphia.
Philadelphia? But how did I get to Philadelphia?
That we don't know. All that I can tell you is that your accident occurred just a few blocks from here.
Darling, I know what a shock it must be.
Strange. You must have called me darling many times in the past. And yet this is the first time I've ever heard you call me that.
Yes, I know.
What did you say your name was?
Oh, hello, Doctor. Come in, won't you?
Thank you. How are you, Blanche?
All right, I suppose.
How's Chris getting along?
He's fine. It's just...
Why, Blanche, what's this? I've never seen you cry. Here.
No, it's just that everything's so changed. Those 6 months Chris and I were married before he regained his memory were the happiest of my life.
And now?
This past month since he got his memory back, it's been as though I were married to a stranger. It isn't as though he doesn't try to be nice to me, but it's also obvious he doesn't love me.
Now, Blanche, you mustn't say that.
It's true, I tell you. How can a man love a woman those first 6 months as he loved me and then fall out of love with her when he's regained his memory?
Well, you must have patience, Blanche. It will take time for Chris to adjust himself to what's happened. He fell in love with you as Charles Arnold, and I'm sure he will as Chris Andrews. You just must give him time.
Judy! Oh, Judy! Oh, just let me look at you. This can't be true. You're being here.
Well, it is. It's been a long time.
Yes. A year and a month since New Year's Eve, 1947.
Chris, what are you doing here in Philadelphia?
I live here.
Well, so do I. I got a job with Ryan and Company as a copywriter here a few months ago.
Look, Judy, we can't talk here on the sidewalk.
Oh, that's right. Well, look, I live only a few blocks from here. We can go to my apartment.
Oh, that's fine. There's so much I want to ask, and there's so much to tell.
Here, let me have your hat and coat.
Thank you.
Would you like something to drink?
No, I don't drink anymore.
Oh? Chris, you have changed. You look so much older.
Well, you don't. You're as lovely as that night I saw you last.
Thank you, Chris.
Judy, you'll have to let me explain what happened after I left you that night at the Tropicana. If you find it difficult to believe, I won't blame you. It still seems like a nightmare to me. That night, after I left you... And so now you know everything. From the moment I last saw you to this one.
Oh, no wonder you look different after having gone through an experience like that. Well, you're all right now. You know who you are. You're happily married. You have a job.
I'm not happily married, Judy.
Chris, you mustn't talk like that. Surely you must have loved your wife if you married her, and she hasn't changed.
Judy, there's never been anyone for me but you. You know that. And you still feel that way about me.
No, I don't.
When we met tonight, that old look was still in your eyes. You do care. You know you do.
Please, Chris, no matter how I feel about you, it's over now. You're married, and that's all there is to it. I wish you'd go, and I don't want to see you again. I expected you home from work hours ago.
I met a friend.
Oh, you look so tired. Do you feel well?
Blanche, this past month I tried my best to be a good husband, haven't I?
Well, you have been, darling.
No, there's something missing, and you know it. Oh, it isn't your fault, it's mine. And as a result, we're both unhappy.
You mustn't say that, Chris. I feel that in time, things will be as they were when we were first married. When you were Charles Arnold.
Oh, but they won't be, Blanche. It's no use, I tell you.
Chris, who is the friend you met tonight?
The girl I was once engaged to.
I see.
Blanche, you've got to give me a divorce.
No, Chris. I'll never do that.
But why? You know I don't love you. What's the sense in going on like this?
Chris, when you were Charles Arnold, you did love me, and we were happy together. I had your love once, and I mean to win it back. I won't give you a divorce.
Hello, Judy.
Chris, I asked you not to call on me again.
Judy, I've got to talk to you. May I come in?
Well, all right. But just for a few minutes.
Thank you. Judy, even if we hadn't met again a week ago, things wouldn't have been any different between my wife and myself. I'll never love her. And I'm not going on with her.
What do you mean, Chris?
I'm going to leave her, Judy, and start all over, someplace far away. I just came around to say goodbye.
Are you set on leaving her?
Yes. Nothing can change my mind about that.
Now, you've got to understand my position, Chris. I could never be happy with you if I thought I'd been the one who came between you and your wife. But if you are going to leave her, I would like to see you again when you're free.
Would you, Judy?
Yes. But I don't want to see you until she's given you a divorce.
Divorce? Judy, I am going to be free. Nothing's going to prevent it. Nothing. Blanche, how would you like to go out tonight?
Go out?
Yeah, we might take in a show or go dancing. Didn't I ever take you out when I was Charles Arnold?
Oh, why, yes. We used to have wonderful evenings together then.
Well, why not now? Unless you don't want to.
Oh, Chris, there's nothing in the world I'd rather do.
Hey, why the tears?
Oh, it's just that I'm so happy.
Oh, come here. Did this Mr. Arnold ever put his arms around you like this?
Oh, yes, often. Oh, Chris, stop squeezing me so tight. Chris.
Sorry, darling.
Oh, you almost squeezed me to death.
That's so you'll remember that I'm your husband and not Mr. Arnold. And Blanche.
Oh, yes, Chris.
I'm taking a week's vacation soon. What do you say if we go up to the Adirondack Mountains for a week of winter sports?
Oh, Chris, I'd love to. Well, it'll be like a second honeymoon.
Blanche, you all right? There's only a few more feet to the top.
I'm coming, darling. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Oh, Chris. Oh, the view is wonderful from here, isn't it?
You're right. Being up here is like being alone in the world.
Yes, just the two of us. Oh, this past week's been a wonderful one, Chris. I've never been so happy.
Nor have I.
Oh, be careful, Chris. Don't go so near the edge. That canyon's 4,000 feet deep.
Oh, this ledge is perfectly safe. Come over here and take a look at the valley below.
All right. Ooh, please keep your arms around me, Chris. Looking down like this frightens me.
There. You're safe in my arms.
Chris, why are you looking at me that way?
What way, dear?
I don't know. Is your head throbbing again?
No, dear. I don't suppose you've changed your mind about giving me a divorce, have you?
Giving you a divorce? But I thought we were so happy together.
Yes, that's the impression I meant people to get.
Chris, you can't be serious. Why, everything's been wonderful these past few weeks.
Oh, I see it won't be any use trying to talk you into it.
What do you mean?
I'm sorry, Blanche. I don't want to do this, but you've given me no alternative. It's really your own fault, that you must die.
Let go of me.
No use struggling, darling. No one can see or hear you, and you can't possibly escape.
You can't throw me off that ledge, then I'll hang you.
I don't think so, dear. We've been so happy these past few weeks. I'm sure the police will see it as an unfortunate accident.
Stop pushing me toward the edge. Chris, don't. I'll give you a divorce. I'll give you anything.
I'm afraid it's too late for that. Good evening, Judy. May I come in?
Why, yes, of course. How are you, Chris?
Oh, I'm all right. I want to thank you for the note you sent me when Blanche died.
I can't tell you how sorry I was to hear about it, Chris.
Yes, it all happened so quickly.
What have you been doing since then?
Oh, just working. Trying to straighten myself out.
Yes.
Judy, perhaps I shouldn't talk about it now, seeing that Blanche has only been gone a month, but I've been thinking of leaving town. Will you come with me?
Please sit down, Chris. You make me nervous walking back and forth like that.
All right. But you haven't answered my question.
Well, it isn't easy to answer.
It would be if you said yes. I see in your eyes you mean no. Why?
Chris, I've met someone else recently.
Someone else? But you said if I were free, you'd marry me.
I didn't say I'd marry you. I said if you were free, I'd like to see you again. But now I'm not even sure of that. You're so different from what you used to be.
Stop being clever. If you didn't say you'd marry me, you implied as much.
Please, Chris, you're making it so difficult for me.
I'm making it difficult for you. And I suppose what I've been through doesn't count. I risked my life to get you.
Risked your life? Chris, what are you saying?
Are you such a fool as to believe that Blanche fell off that mountain?
Chris, you didn't.
Yes. And I did it because you said you'd marry me if I were free.
Oh, no, I meant a divorce.
But she wouldn't give me a divorce. It was the only way I could gain my freedom. And now you tell me there's someone else.
Oh, Chris.
I did it for you. And you're going to marry me.
No, I won't.
If I can't have you, no one else will.
Chris, what's the matter with you? Chris!
We were meant for each other, darling. In life and in death.
Chris, if you come any closer, I'll scream for help. No, don't. Chris, no!
You won't marry me. You'll never marry anyone else. There. He'll never have you.
Open up in there.
Miss Winters, are you all right? Call the police.
I didn't want to do it, darling, but you forced me to. Oh, my head, it throbs so. Everything's like a nightmare.
Open up in there. This is the police.
The police? I've got to get away. Oh, they're closing in on me. There's no escape from this roof.
Let's work our way down from this end of the roof to the other.
They'll never take me alive. Never. I've got 5 bullets. 4 for them and the last for myself.
Take it easy now, Joe. You may be hiding behind one of those chimneys.
Oh, my head. It keeps throbbing so. If I could only think. Oh, this can't be real. It's like a horrible dream. They're coming for me.
Right. There's someone behind that chimney over there. Get under cover.
They'll never take me alive, never. I'll show them.
Keep down, Mike.
Why don't you come and get me? Afraid to shoot it out with me, huh? I'll show you.
Come on, Mike. His gun is empty.
Oh, empty. You'll never take me alive. Never.
He's climbing up on the ledge. It's 15 stories.
I'm coming, Judy. I'm coming.
He's going to jump.
I'm falling. Falling. You'll never take me. Never. I'm falling.
Falling. Doctor, the patient's recovering consciousness.
Yes, you're right. He's opening his eyes.
Oh, my head. It throbs so. Where am I? Oh, it was a dream. Not real. Oh, thank heaven.
Now, you must be quiet. You've been in a serious accident.
Accident?
Yes. You were hit by an automobile New Year's morning. Would you mind telling me your name? There weren't any identification papers in your clothing, and we'd like to inform your relatives of what's happened.
My name? I can't remember my name.
I see. What about your address? Can you remember that?
No. No, I can't remember anything.
Now, you mustn't get excited. It'll all come back to you. You received a fractured skull from the accident.
There was a mountain.
Mountain? You mean you live near one?
I don't know. There was a mountain, and the police were chasing me. And I jumped off a high building. It's all mixed up.
You probably dreamed that while you were unconscious, but you're all right now. Just need rest and quiet.
Where am I?
You're in the Park Hospital, Philadelphia.
Philadelphia? What day is it?
It's January 5th, 1947. It's 7:26 in the evening.
And you don't know my name?
No, all we have is your belt buckle with the initials CA.
CA.
Nurse, will you look after the patient now? I'll be in to see him later tonight.
Yes, doctor. Are you comfortable?
The initial CA. What do you suppose they stand for?
Perhaps the C is for Charles?
Charles? Charles. I don't know.
Well, suppose I call you Charles, just for the time being. I always liked the name Charles.
All right. What's your name?
I'm Miss Thompson, but you can call me Blanche. And Charles, let me be the first to wish you a happy 1947.
This is the mysterious traveler again. Have you enjoyed our little trip? Oh, by the way, I want to wish you all a very happy New Year. And I do hope you'll be careful about making new acquaintances. And perhaps you'd better keep an eye on the old ones, too. For after all, who can foretell the future? Not even Chris Andrews, or should I say Charles Arnold, knows what's in store for him. But we do, don't we? And speaking of the future, Oh, you're getting off here. I'm sorry. But I'm sure we'll meet again. I take this same train every week at this same time.
You've just heard The Mysterious Traveler, a series of dramas of the strange and terrifying. In tonight's cast were Maurice Tarplin, Stuart Brody, Louise Fitch, Hester Sondergaard, and Mort Lawrence. Original music was played by Doc Whipple. The Mysterious Traveler is written and directed by Bob Arthur and David Cogan. Listen next week over most of these stations to a tale titled
No Grave Can Hold Me.
Another Tale of the Mysterious Traveler. The Mysterious Traveler has been presented from our New York studios. Carl Caruso speaking. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
This is Old Time Radio USA, your source for the classic old time radio shows you love.
The Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation brings you Crime Photographer. Happy New Year, Casey. Happy New Year, Ethelbert.
Same to you, Marvin.
Say, you know this 1948 is going to be a great year.
Why so?
Well, don't you know? It's leap year.
And just what can leap year mean to you?
Why, I'm surprised at you, Ethelbert. Don't you know that means an extra Thursday?
So what?
So what? That extra Thursday gives me an extra chance to say that Anchor Hawking is the most famous name in glass. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tony Marvin. Every week at this time, the Anchor Hawking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, and its more than 10,000 employees bring you another adventure of Casey, crime photographer, ace cameraman who covers the crime news of a great city. Written by Alonzo Dean Cole, our adventure for tonight, Hot New Year's Party. Past 9 on the morning of New Year's Day. And to some people, that hour on that day can be very bleak and dismal. Ethelbert, the head bartender of the Blue Note Cafe, is obviously not one of those unfortunates, for we find him in the morning.
Oh, what a beautiful thing. Hi, Walter.
Yeah, Ethelbert.
Bring up 2 more bottles of aspirin. They're going to be our best sellers today.
Okay.
Oh, what a beautiful... Well, look who's here. Happy New Year, Casey. And same to you, Miss Williams. What's the matter with you two?
Ask Walter to bring us a couple of cups of coffee, pal.
Strong and black.
And slip me an aspirin tablet.
Make that a double order.
Oh. Hey, Walter, draw 2.
Coming up.
What's Herman Chittison doing here? Practicing at this hour in the morning?
He couldn't get home on account of the snow. He slept here all night.
Oh.
Here's some special headache medicine for you to stay out all night.
We haven't been stay out all nights.
I know. Like good, sensible folks, you left the party early, just before daylight. And then you got all of an hour's sleep before you had to come to work on the 8 a.m. shift.
He's a wise guy, Annie.
Yeah.
You should have been like me. I wasn't on duty last night, but did I spend my leisure time in idle revelry? I did not. At 12 o'clock, my sister Edna and me wished one another a happy new year over a glass of good, healthful milk. Then I retired and enjoyed a fine, refreshing sleep. So, on this beautiful morning, you find me full of vim, vigor, and vitamins. Have another aspirin on the house.
Shall I kill this guy quickly, Annie? Listen, vim, vigor, and vitamins. The reason Miss Williams and I feel beat up is that ever since a few minutes after we reported for work this morning, we've been inhaling smoke.
Smoke?
There was another warehouse fire this morning near Chatham Circle.
That's the only New Year's party we've attended, and it was a red-hot one, too.
Bad fire, huh?
Yeah, plenty bad.
Oh, here's Walter with our coffee.
Oh, thanks, Walter. Happy New Year. Boys, and welcome, too.
Thanks, Walter.
Okay.
Your papers kind of hinted that them warehouse fires lately have been arson jobs, Miss Williams.
Oh, we're morally certain of it, Ethelbert. And that Jake Schultz is the man behind them.
He and his mob make a deal with the owners of them places to split the fire insurance, huh?
That's right. That's the racket.
Skinny Jake Schultz is a pretty smart cookie, I hear. Neither the cops or the fire inspectors has ever got anything on him.
Well, if he's behind the torch job we just covered, he isn't so smart. As this one let somebody in for a hot seat rap.
What do you mean?
Well, the fire was set at night, and there was a human being in the building, an old watchman. That means arson in the first degree. The watchman got out all right, but a fireman was killed by falling timbers. And when death is caused through commission of first-degree arson, it becomes first-degree murder.
And a reliable witness says that he saw 3 men run out of the warehouse a few minutes before the fire was discovered. He's given the police a first-class description of them.
Was one of them Schultz?
No, of course not. Jake doesn't do any firebug stuff himself. If one of those three guys is caught and sings, it's going to be too bad for his boss man. Annie, how about some more coffee?
No, we don't have time, Casey.
That's
We've
right.
got to get out to Barstow College.
Well, there's no hurry about that.
Yes, there is. City desk wants the dope on Professor Wendell right away.
Well, who's Professor Wendell and what's he doing?
Oh, he's a teacher at Barstow College. He went for a walk last night and he hasn't come back.
Now, the professor who shares an apartment with Wendell's just reported his disappearance to the Missing Persons Bureau.
Oh, he thinks the guy has met with foul play?
That's right. Yeah. Well, if we must, we must, Annie. Come on, let's get started at Professor Gerber's place.
But this Professor Gerber's the one who reported the mysterious vanishing of this Professor Wendell, huh?
That's right. After we waste our time with him, Wendell will undoubtedly show up with a perfectly good reason for staying out all night.
Well, I'm perfectly willing to waste time on such cases today. I'd like to start the new year safely and sanely.
Me too, Annie, me too. To establish a precedent for 1948, no jams and no trouble, nothing but peace, sweetness, and light.
Instead of just a hope, why don't you two make that a New Year's resolution?
Well, that's a good idea, pal.
Excellent. We here highly resolve.
That for the coming year,
And starting now.
no jams,
No trouble.
nothing but peace, sweetness, and light.
Professor Wendell and I have shared this apartment for over 5 years, Miss Williams, ever since he lost his wife. I know him, and I'm certain he wouldn't stay out all night without notifying me if he was able to do so.
Well, when did you see him last, Professor Gerber?
He attended a New Year's party at the Teachers' Club, a most decorous affair, I assure you. Shortly after toasting the arrival of the New Year with a glass of sherry, he left saying he was going to take a bus to Chatham Circle.
Chatham Circle?
He liked to wander around there.
That's a tough neighborhood.
I know it, Mr. Casey, and I have repeatedly warned Professor Wendell to keep out of such neighborhoods, especially after dark. But to him, they were most interesting because of the criminal element he found there.
He was interested in the criminal element?
Very much so. Frankly, instead of the brilliant authority on ancient civilizations which Professor Wendell has been for many years, I am certain that he would rather have been a private detective.
An amateur Sherlock Holmes.
He more particularly admired a fictional character called Dr. Thorndyke.
Casey, if he was snooping around Chatham Circle early this morning, he may have seen something he wasn't supposed to see.
Yeah, that warehouse fire was started early this morning, Annie.
A warehouse fire?
Look, will you give us a description of your friend, Professor Gerber?
Clarence Wendell is a small man, about 5'3", I should say,
Yeah.
and he weighed not more than 130 pounds. He had light blue eyes, thin gray hair, and wears gold-rimmed spectacles. Last night he wore a dark blue overcoat, black felt hat.
Casey.
Professor, did you give that description to the cops when you reported him missing?
Oh, of course. I gave them a photograph of Clarence.
And it didn't mean anything to them?
Mean anything?
Well, it exactly fits a witness description of one of 3 men who ran out of the Chatham Circle warehouse early this morning, just before it caught on fire.
I don't understand.
The Missing Persons Bureau men who talked to Professor Gerber wouldn't necessarily know about that arson business, Annie.
Oh, no, that's right. It's being handled by the homicide squad.
Will you please explain?
Now, there's more important things to do first, Professor, if you don't mind. Where's your phone? I want to call Captain Logan of Homicide and get him to check with Missing Persons right away.
That's all you're going to do, Casey. Just phone. Remember our New Year's resolution?
Casey, I got hold of that warehouse witness right after you phoned me. When he looked at the photograph Missing Persons had of Professor Wendell, he identified it immediately.
Wendell was the little guy you saw coming out of the warehouse, Logan, right?
Between the 2 other men. He hasn't been able to identify the others from pictures in our criminal files.
But the witness saw Wendell between the other guys?
Yeah. Now he recalls that both had a grip on the little man's arms.
Well, when Professor Wendell was playing detective last night, he accidentally stumbled onto the arsonists while they were setting the fire, and they kidnapped him to keep him quiet.
That's the way it looks, Miss Williams. Which doesn't help us find Wendell or the firebugs.
Or like the fire inspectors, you think that Jake Schultz mob is behind it?
Sure, but suspicion and proof are very different things. We haven't a single lead to work on.
Professor Wendell's a definite lead.
He's a definite complication.
Huh?
If 2 of Schultz's torches put the snatch on him this morning because he caught him setting a fire, they probably bumped him off by now.
Oh. Logan, I don't think Professor Wendell has been bumped off.
Why?
Casey, the gang won't dare let him live if he saw what we think he did.
Well, they'll give him the works eventually, Annie. But Jake Schultz is going to do a whole lot of thinking before he okays a murder that would hit the front pages and stay there. Logan, Jake's in the fire business, but he does his best to avoid strong heats.
Yeah. I'll have Skinny Jake and his mob brought in. We'll force information out of them.
You won't force anything out of Jake or his mob. That's been tried before.
Do you know of anything else we can try?
I can try something.
You?
Yeah?
What?
I think I'll have to keep to myself. There can't be any cops in the picture, Logan.
Meaning you know some crook who might be persuaded to spill?
Meaning you ask no questions and I answer none, now or later.
Okay. Help me find Professor Wendell alive, and you can write your own ticket.
Attaboy, Logan. Thank you. I'll get started right away. Now stick around your office here, and I'll phone you after I make my contacts.
I'll be near the phone.
So long.
Oh, I'm going with you. See you later, Captain.
Okay, Miss Williams. And carry your luckiest horseshoe, Casey.
Yeah, I guess I'll need it, pal.
Oh, what are you going to do, Casey?
Annie, I'm going to leave you as soon as we reach the street door.
Not unless you tell me what this is all about.
Look, kid, I can't tell anybody.
Well, then I'll trail you.
Well, if you do, you may wreck the one chance of finding Professor Wendell alive.
Okay. Well, just tell me one thing, off the record. Where are you going?
Completely off the record, Annie. To Nick Morrow's Tavern.
Well, the Schultz mob hangs out at Nick Morrow's. Jake Schultz owns the place.
Yeah?
Casey, you'll be sticking your neck out down there. Quite a few of the mob know you. Schultz knows you.
I'll be okay, Annie.
Well, maybe. Oh, resolutions are so easily broken, Casey, we should only have hoped for a safe and sane 1948.
Today, a lot of you probably met Jadeite dinnerware for the first time because Jadeite is the perfect solution to the problem raised by an unusually large number of guests. Jadeite cups and saucers, Jadeite dessert plates and salad plates, Jadeite dinner plates, soup plates, vegetable bowls, and platters are as lovely as Chinese porcelain. They're as heat-proof as the Fire King oven glass you use for baking. Yet they're so inexpensive that you can buy all the extra pieces you need for entertaining without making a dent in your budget. For example, Jadeite cups and saucers cost only 15 cents for the 2 pieces, and you can buy a complete 35-piece dinner service for $6 for less than $5. Now, you'll find Jadeite dinnerware at chain stores, hardware stores, department stores, and all other stores selling chinaware and glass. Ask for Jadeite by name. Now it's spelled Jadeite. Jadeite, newest triumph of anchor hocking. The most famous name in glass.
No, Red Monahan ain't in the back room, Casey. He ain't been in the joint at all today.
Well, I'll stick around, Nick. You'll probably be in later. Give me a beer, will you?
Okay.
You barred to a big New Year's business last night, Nick?
I can't complain. You still running with the cops, Casey?
Why, Nick, I don't know what you mean. I'm a newspaper guy.
Sure, I know. Here's your beer.
Thanks, Nick.
What do you want to see Red Monahan about?
If it's any of your business, Nick, I want to thank him for the Christmas card he sent me.
You've been waiting here over an hour for me, Casey?
That's okay, Red. It's okay.
Oh, it ain't okay. You're one guy I wouldn't keep waiting for no reason.
Well, look, let's sit down here. Over the corner table there, we can talk privately.
Yeah, okay. Hey, Nick, we're going to sit down. Bring me and my pal Casey a drink.
Okay, Red.
Come on, Casey. It's good to see you. Here, take a load off your feet.
Thanks.
Now, what's on your mind?
I'm going to ask a favor of you, Red.
A favor?
Yeah.
I owe you a debt, fella. One I can't ever pay. My only kid would be dead if it wasn't for you. See, I'll never forget how you pulled her out of the river when she was drowning.
Here's your drinks.
Oh, thanks, Nick.
That's all, Nick. Thanks.
Well, tell me, what can I do for you, Casey?
All right, I'll give it to you quick and straight, Red. I want Professor Weldon.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I think you do. Because I know how close you are to Schultz. Nick, I give him a word that the cops don't know and won't know that I'm talking to you. All I want is that little professor, and I want him alive.
Look, I ain't got the slightest idea what you're driving at, pal. I swear I
You
ain't.
say you owe me a debt, Red. Under ordinary circumstances, that's a debt that only a heel would try to collect. But under these circumstances, I ask Wendell's life in exchange for your kids.
I can't give it to you.
Because he's been killed?
No, he ain't been killed. I tell you, I don't know anything about him.
You can't lie to me, Red. Look, you're a crook, but you're not a murderer. If you don't tell me where to find Professor Wendell, you'll be committing murder right now, just as surely as though you held a gun to the guy's head.
I ain't even seen the guy, Casey. I won't see him.
You know what I mean. Keep your nose clean, fella.
I ain't no squeal. I don't rat.
You're ratting on a debt. You owe me a life.
Okay, Casey, you win. I'm coming clean with you. But I had no part in anything that happened this morning.
Where is the professor?
He's being kept in an old house out in Bristol Road, while Schultz makes up his mind when and how to bump him over.
Where on Bristol Road?
East of Old Turnpike. Third farmhouse on the right-hand side.
Third farmhouse on the right,
Yeah, now get out of here, Casey. It's curtains for me if the mob finds out that I told you.
Nobody will ever find it out from me, Red. And thanks a million, and so long. What's the matter?
Schultz. Skinny Jake. Just came out of the back room with two guys of the mob.
Yeah.
Hello, Red.
Hi, Jake. Hi, Maury. How's Trick, Sam?
Yeah. Hi.
Casey. Well, I haven't seen you for a long time.
Well, I haven't been around your way, Schultz.
Well, Nick phoned me a while ago that you were waiting here for our pal Red. Knowing how he feels about you on account of his kid, I decided to come over.
You, came in the back way?
Uh-huh. I've been sitting in the back room, listening through the wall.
Listening? You heard?
Yeah, plenty. Walk into that back room, both of you. Keep your hands in sight. Get going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we've got a car in the alley, and you two dopes are getting into it.
Oh, what are you going to do to us, Jake?
You can guess, can't you, Red?
Yeah. And I ain't going to tell you.
That goes for me, too, Red. You can clean these mugs up.
Don't shoot, guys. It might bring the cops.
This Casey's getting my gap, bro.
No, he isn't.
You got him with your blackjack.
Yeah, Casey's out of the picture now, Red.
Yeah, I got right under control, Jake. Let's zap him anyway.
I'm doing just that.
Now they're both out cold.
Yeah, but not cold enough. You and Murray put him in the car, Sam, and we'll all go for a ride. There's a good spot, Sam. Stop the car.
Okay, boss.
All right, this is the end of the ride for you and Casey.
Hey, they can't hear you, Jake.
Huh?
When you socked them back in Nick's joint, you done an A1 job.
That's still out, eh?
And how?
All right, pull him out of the car and roll him into the ditch here.
Yeah, give me a hand, Sam.
Hey, Maury. Come on. Get it once. You got him?
Yeah, I got him in. Pull him back. Yeah. All right.
All right, now get back in the driver's seat, Sam. You, Murray, give him each a slug through the head.
Me?
Yes, you heard me.
Hey, you're afraid of killing, ain't you, Jake?
Oh, I'm not afraid of it. I've just been smart enough to keep myself and you guys clear of it. Now we've got no choice.
But you want someone else to do it.
I'll do it if you haven't got the guts. Get back in the car.
Yeah, that suits me fine. Hey, what are you getting into?
I'll shoot from here. Sam, be ready to step on the gas when I do. This isn't a private road.
I'll be ready. I got the busting gear and my foot on the clutch.
Let them guys in the ditch have it, Jake.
All right, I'm letting them have it.
Hey, a car's coming, boss. From behind us.
Yeah, I see it. Get away, Sam.
I'm getting...
Hey, you only shot one guy, Jake.
I can't do any more shooting now. Get away from that car behind us, Sam. Get away!
Well, you certainly had that lucky horseshoe with you, Casey. We found Red Monahan lying beside you in the ditch with a bullet through his chest, and you only had an egg-sized lump on the back of your head.
Oh, Casey didn't get off so easy, Captain Logan. He was unconscious for almost 2 hours after he was brought to this hospital.
The doc says he's all right now, Miss Williams.
Yeah, it's all right, Annie. I'm okay. Don't worry.
Oh, Casey, I've been so worried.
Oh, forget it, kid. They killed poor Red, huh?
No. Oh, he's going to pull through. Slug didn't get him in a vital spot.
Oh, I'm glad of that. I'm glad. No, Red's more than a half-right guy, much more. Of course, you want to know what happened, Logan.
Oh, take it easy, pal. You were delirious for a while after they brought you here, and you did a lot of talking.
You kept saying that Red Monahan had told you that Professor Wendell was being held prisoner in a house on Bristol Road.
East of Old Turnpike, third farmhouse on the right.
Wait a minute, I said all that when I was out?
Over and over.
Well, then you went to Bristol Road and found the professor.
And my guys went there, pal, but too late.
Schultz and the men with him evidently knew they hadn't killed you, Casey.
They lost no time in taking Professor Wendell away. We found the house empty. We haven't any idea where they've taken him.
Well, you found a possible lead in that Bristol Road farmhouse, Captain. Go ahead, show Casey.
Lead? What?
That thing's no lead, Miss Williams. It merely proves that Professor Wendell was in the house.
What'd you find, Logan?
He found a belt.
A belt?
With Professor Wendell's initials on the buckle.
Now, take a look, pal. Miss Williams insists that these cuts in the edges of the belt mean something.
Well, they're fresh cuts, Casey. See?
Yeah.
When we found the belt in a room where Wendell was probably held prisoner, we figured that those cuts might be some sort of a tip-off about where he'd been taken from there. That hasn't worked out that way.
Funny cuts, aren't they? Some straight, some slanting, and irregularly spaced.
Wendell knew that an ordinary written message wouldn't help him. The men guarding him would have found it and destroyed it. I'm sure these cuts are a message in code.
Our cipher expert at headquarters didn't recognize it as any code.
Well, your chief cipher experts were taking New Year's Day off, Captain. The men on duty are apprentices.
Oh, yeah.
Do the cuts mean anything to you, Casey?
No, not a thing.
It makes it unanimous. They're Greek as far as all of us are concerned.
Greek? Greek. Hey, Annie, wait a minute. Professor Goebel told us that Wendell was an authority on ancient civilizations. Have you shown this belt to Gerber, or whatever his name is, Logan?
No, but I phoned him.
All right, we're going to show it to him right now.
Casey! Yep. Casey, you can't get out of bed.
I'm out. Beat it, Annie. Come on, let me get dressed. I want to hear what Professor Gerber says when he sees this cut-up belt.
All right, I'm going.
You're right, Mr. Casey. The belt conveys a message.
It does, Professor Gerber?
Yes, in the oldest secret code that history records. The ancient Spartans used it to convey secret military information. It is called Citily. Professor Wendell hoped you'd bring this to me, Captain Logan.
He did, eh?
He must have. He knew I'd be able to read a Citily message.
Why are you wrapping that belt around your arm?
So that I may be able to decipher its markings, Miss Williams. You see, to write a Citily message, the ancients wrapped a strip of papyrus, long and narrow, like this belt, around a staff of predetermined circumference, with the edge of each spiral joining that of another. Then on the joining edges, they wrote the secret information they wished to impart. When the strip was unwound from the staff, nothing but apparently idle markings were visible on its edges. Now, the belt is completely wound about my arm. See? Its message is plain.
No, not to me. All I see is that the edges of the cuts meet.
But the cuts form letters, Captain.
Greek letters.
Greek, Logan. Ann knows she's been to college.
But what do they say?
In rough translation, they are taking me to Diana's house.
Diana's house?
Diana was the Roman name for the Greek goddess Artemis.
Say, I'm not a shark on the classics, but I get it.
So do I, Logan.
Well, I don't.
Neither do I.
Professor Gerber, Annie, the name of Skinny Jake Schultz's best gal friend is Diana. And to get away from the classics entirely, it's Diana McGillicuddy.
I never thought Schultz would take Wendell to such an obvious hideout, Casey.
Neither did I, Logan, which means Schultz has been smarter than we are. Well, all right, let's go.
All set, Captain Logan. We have the joint surrounded.
Men are ready to break in from all sides, Sergeant.
As soon as they hear your whistle, sir.
I'll hear that as soon as I get to the front door. Now, you stay there, Casey.
Oh, no. I got a little personal matter to settle with Skinny Jake Schultz. I got a hunch he's in Diana's house.
You should still be in the hospital, you Sam.
All right, but I'm not. Okay, blow your whistle, pal.
I haven't got time to argue with you. Hit the dick, guys!
Hey, the cops! They're coming in from all sides.
Take 'em out. That means you, Schultz.
Oh, no, you're not going to take me.
You're wrong, Jake.
Oh, Casey!
I owed him that KO, Logan. And I owe these other two mugs something, too.
No.
We've given up.
Now, lay off, Casey.
Let me go, Logan. Let me go.
Cut it. This is the police job. You can take the pictures, but you can't make them.
Well, all right, Logan. But I want good shots. With Professor Wendell in them.
Where is Wendell, you mugs?
He ain't been hurt.
He's down in the cellar.
Sergeant, bring him up.
I'll get my camera set.
You can't take pictures of the professor for the newspaper.
Hey, not for decent newspapers.
Why not, you mugs?
Oh, on account of...
Because, some way, the professor lost the belt that kept his pants up.
Yeah, and then some way he lost his pants.
We'll join the crowd at the Blue Note in just a moment. You know, tonight we're nearing the end of the holiday season, and to those of you who are exhausted, here's a suggestion. A good hot cup of coffee, which you can prepare in an instant, without fuss, without work, and without waiting even a minute. Now, I'm talking about soluble coffee, the amazing scientific discovery which makes really delicious coffee available at a moment's notice. Now, all you need is a cup, a spoon, and a glass jar. The sanitary, convenient Anchor glass jar in which most of the better packers of soluble coffee bring you their products. The Anchor glass jar opens quickly and simply. There's no trouble in measuring, no waste from spilling. And even more important, glass jars protect the flavor and freshness of soluble coffee against moisture long after they're opened. You'll be delighted by the delicious soluble coffees now on the market, particularly those that come to you in convenient Anchor glass containers sealed with Anchor caps. Both products of Anchor Hocking. The most famous name in glass.
Them pictures you took of Professor Wendell after he was rescued was very different, Casey. It's the first time I ever saw pictures of a college professor wrapped in a blanket. He looked just like an Indian.
Professor Wendell didn't like to have him taken that way, Ethelbert, even though Casey was responsible for his rescue. He was kind of burned up.
Yeah, he wasn't as burned up as Jake Schultz and his hired firebugs are going to be.
No, they're facing murder and kidnapping charges. And with plenty of evidence to back them up.
As the result of Casey busting some nice New Year's resolutions, Miss Williams.
Yeah. The Safe and Sane, 1948.
You've started swell. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Annie.
Let's enlarge the idea. And no kidding.
You got something there, Ethelbert. All right, all together. Happy New Year to everyone.
To everyone. Excuse me.
Crime Photographer, starring Stotts Cotsworth as Casey, is brought to you each Thursday by the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, makers of Fire King Oven Glass. Anchor glass containers, Anchor caps and closures. All products of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. Photographer is directed by John Dietz. The original music is by Archie Blyer, and the program features Miss Jan Miner as Anne and John Gibson as Ethelbert. Herman Chittison is the Blue Note pianist. This is Tony Marvin saying goodnight for the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, with offices in all principal cities of the United States and Canada.
Established in 1999, you're listening to the oldest streaming old-time radio station on the internet today. You're listening to Old Time Radio USA.
The Jack Benny Program, transcribed and presented by Lucky Strike, the cigarette that's toasted to taste better.
If you want better taste from your cigarette, Lucky Strike is the brand to get. It's toasted to give you the best taste yet. It's the toasted cigarette.
This is Don Wilson, friends. Dorothy Collins, the sweetheart of Lucky Strike, just gave you the key to deep down smoking enjoyment. Better taste. And that's where a Lucky really clicks. A Lucky tastes better because LSMFT, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Fine, light, naturally good-tasting tobacco. And then that tobacco is toasted. It's toasted, the famous Lucky Strike process, brings a Lucky's fine tobacco to its peak of flavor. Tones up a Lucky's naturally good-tasting tobacco to make it taste even better. Cleaner, fresher, smoother. So pick up a carton of better-tasting Lucky Strike. I know you'll be happy if you go Lucky.
Bob, hold it.
Well, what is it, Jack?
Bob, it's almost airtime. Can't you do something about the orchestra?
Well, what's wrong with them? Nobody goofed.
What's wrong with them? Look at Bagby's playing the piano lying down. Gridwell is blowing confetti through his clarinet. And look at Sammy, the drummer, weaving around up there. If he doesn't fall off that stand before the show's over, I'll eat my hat.
Well, gosh, Jack, you didn't expect the boys to come in sober this soon after New Year's Eve, did you?
Bob, I don't expect them to come in sober after Groundhog Day. But this is ridiculous. Look at them. We're starting a new year, Bob, and I want you to tell them those new rules we discussed.
Now?
Yeah, give them those new rules right now.
Well, okay.
Tell them.
Look, attention, fellas, attention. Look, we're starting a new year, and we'll all get along a lot better if...
I knew he'd fall off. Help Sammy up, will you, boys? Now, go ahead with the rules, Bob.
Okay, Jack. Look, now, fellas, look. I'm sure that you all want to know just exactly where we stand, so listen carefully, will you? Now, rule number 1. During the coming year, you will all be required to attend each and every rehearsal, and no excuse will be accepted unless it is signed by either your doctor or your warden. Rule number 2. From now on, when I lift my baton, that's the signal for you to start playing, not drinking.
I knew that one would go over big.
Now, look, guys, before we go on the air, I know that you want to show Jack just exactly how good your face is. So, if any of you happen to be in possession of a bottle of spirit, I would like you to throw it in this wastebasket. All right, now, let's get started.
Remley dropped his in. Who's next? How about...
Hey, Jack, come on, will you? Come on.
Don, let go of my arm.
But we're going on the air in just a few minutes.
So we're going on the air. What are you so excited about? You've been jumpy all afternoon.
Oh, it's that diet my doctor gave me. I'm not allowed to eat candy, cake, pie, potatoes. Can't eat anything I like, and it's making a nervous wreck out of me.
Yeah, it's awful. When'd you go on this diet?
I start tomorrow.
Well, Don, if it bothers you so much before you're even started, maybe you better forget about it.
I can't. I made a New Year's resolution to lose 100 pounds this year.
How much?
100 pounds.
Don, I've known you for 23 years, and the only time 100 pounds ever left your body was when you had your tonsils removed. Remember, they weighed 50 pounds each?
Oh, yeah, as soon as I came to, I had to get off the table so the doctor could lie down.
Yeah.
Well, 1 minute till airtime, Jack.
Okay, where are the scripts, Don?
I haven't got them.
Well, where are they? We're going on the air.
Now, look, relax, Jack. Here comes the clerk from the mimeograph department. He's got them.
Well, it's about time. Say, fella, why are you always bringing in the scripts at the last minute?
Because I'm busy! I'm busy! Busy!
But you had plenty of time.
Plenty of time, he says. It's not that easy. I gotta type this script, make the stencil, ink the machine, put the paper in and turn the handle. I have to do everything myself. There's no organization. Now, nothing is organized.
Take it easy, will you?
Everything is a rush job. First they come with Amos and Andy's script, then our Mrs. Brooks, and then meet Millie, and then your lousy script.
What?
And then Bing Crosby. I told you there's no organization.
Look, I'm going on the air in a minute, and I can't be bothered with your problems, so go already.
I'm going.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. See, he's so excitable.
Now everybody hollers at me. Before Christmas, they're all such angels. Sometimes I think...
Jack, we should be on the air now. We're 5 seconds late.
Well, we can't be. The producer's supposed to give me the signal. Where is he? Why isn't he in the booth? There's no organization.
Well, there it comes now, Jack.
Okay, hit it, Bob.
The Lucky Strike program starring Jack Benny with Mary Livingston, Rochester, Dennis Day, Bob Crosby, and yours truly, Don Wilson. Ladies and gentlemen, although New Year's Eve is behind us, the strains of Should Old Acquaintance Be Forgot linger on. So right now I'd like to bring you one of the oldest acquaintances I know, and here he is, Jack Benny!
Thank you. Hello again. This is Jack Benny talking. And Don, ordinarily I'd get back at you for that corny introduction, but we're starting a new year, so I'm going to forgive and forget.
You are?
Yep, I'm wiping the slate clean, and I'm going to start by paying up all my old debts. Oh, Bob.
Yeah?
Bob, here's that quarter I borrowed from you last June when we ate at the drugstore. You remember that?
Oh, yeah, thanks. Now, how about that $10 that I won from you on the Rose Bowl game yesterday?
Well, that's this year, so you'll have to wait until 1956.
Jack Benny, that's
No, Bob, we're not going to have any bickering this year. The people are tired of insults, name-calling, and all that rowdy old hat comedy. From now on, we're going to do only sophisticated humor. We're going to have suave, All right, let them lay there. As I was saying, we're going to do suave, sophisticated, smart comedy.
Gee, I'm sure going to miss Dennis.
No, I already discussed this with Dennis, and he promised to be a completely different person this year.
Yeah, but Jack, do you think that Dennis can really change?
Well, he said he would, and after the talk I gave him, I think he will. I know if he puts his...
Well, hello, everybody.
Oh, hello, kid. We were just talking about you. How are you, Dennis? Dennis, how are you? Dennis, I'm talking to you.
No, you're not.
Then who am I talking to?
Julius.
What?
I told you I'd be a different person this year.
Oh, so you changed your name to Julius, huh?
Yeah, that's my last name.
Your last name is Julius? What's your first name?
Orange.
Julius. Imagine naming yourself after a drink.
Oh, I was going to call myself Lipton Tea, but I didn't know what the T stood for.
Stop it, will you? Here it is, the first show of the new year. Right away, you got to aggravate me. I don't know why I even talk to you. Let's just have your song.
Sorry, Julius doesn't sing.
What?
But he does bird calls. He's the Australian wood wobbler.
I don't care what he does. Just sing. Orange Julius, some sophisticated show I'm running.
scarpine per ballare, ballare, balleremmo tutto il dì. Le scarpine per ballare, ballare, balleremmo ancor così. In the shoemaker's shop, this refrain would never stop. They'd be tapped away, working all the day. At his bench there was he, just as busy as a bee, little time to lose with his boots and shoes. But his heart went pop inside the little shop when a lovely girl set him all a whirl. She had come to choose some pretty dancing shoes, and he heard her say in a charming way, shoes to set my feet a dancing, 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 dancing all the day. Shoes to set my feet a dancing, dancing, dancing all my cares away. Then he tapped and he stitched, for his fingers were bewitched, and he sewed a dream into every seam, making shoes oh so neat, just like magic on her feet. And he hoped she'd know that he loved her so. But she danced, danced, danced as though she were entranced, like a spinning top all around the shop. On her dainty feet she whirled into the street, and he heard her say as she danced away, le scarpine per ballare, ballare, balleremmo tutto il dì. Le scarpine per ballare, ballare, balleremmo ancor così. Shoes to set my feet a dancing, dancing, dancing all the
That was The Little Shoemaker, and very good, too, Julius.
You can call me Orange.
Look, kid, let's just forget about that. I was wrong to expect you to be any different. A person just doesn't change overnight.
Well, my father did.
He did?
Yeah, he woke up this morning and he was a new man. You should have seen him. He went up to my mother and he said, first you're going to make my breakfast, then you're going to wash the floor, and after that you're going to iron all my clothes, and when you're through with that, you're going to shine my shoes.
Well, it's about time your father asserted himself. I'd like to go over and congratulate him.
Well, it's not far. He's at Cedars of Lebanon.
Well, Dennis, wish him a happy New Year for me, will you? Now, let's get on with the...
Hey, Jack, I tried to get you on New Year's Day. Where were you?
Oh, I was at the Tournament of Roses parade in Pasadena. It was a beautiful sight.
Did you go alone?
No, I had my date with me from New Year's Eve, and Rochester drove us down there.
Gee, didn't you have to wake up awfully early to get to Pasadena in time?
Oh, it wasn't so bad, Don. Now, let me tell you about it. I set the alarm for 3:30 a.m. At 3:45, we picked up my date. By 4 o'clock, we were on our...
Say, the fog really rolls in at this hour of the morning. I can't see more than 20 feet in front of me.
Really, Gertrude? See, I can see that street light at the end of the block. Rochester, what can you see?
Nothing. My eyes are still closed.
Well, open them. You're driving. And don't look so crabby.
Boss, it's 4 in the morning. Even Liberace ain't smiling.
4 in the morning, big deal. Where's your vitality? Gertrude and I were out celebrating last night, and here we are, wide awake and full of pep.
Yeah, and we're older.
Speak for yourself, John.
Tim, whose idea was it to call it a night at 10:30? The joint was just starting to jump.
Well, what's the difference? While I was there, I was the life of the party, wasn't I?
Some life.
Well, what's so funny?
You tried to look so debonair drinking hot chocolate out of my slipper.
I only did that for a gag. Anyway, you'll have to admit that I showed you a swell time at that nightclub. Well, I had you out on that dance floor every minute.
Anything to keep me from eating.
You ate, sister, and how you ate. I suppose that T-bone steak was a mirage. The last time I saw anyone wrestle meat that way, he had a branding iron.
Very funny.
I was never so embarrassed in all my life. Everyone was looking at us.
They weren't looking at me. They were looking at you in that old tuxedo.
Old tuxedo?
Your pants were so tight you had to wear your garters on the outside. Now I suppose you're going to pout all day because I told you off.
I'm not going to pout.
See, the fog is lifting.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a beautiful day. Hey, Rochester, maybe you ought to put down the top, huh?
Oh, boss, let's not put the top down.
Why not?
There's so much trouble taking down the center pole and pulling out the peg.
Oh, yes, I forgot. This is the new one I bought at the Army surplus store.
Yeah, the flag still says Field Headquarters, General Ridgway.
Yeah.
How far are we from Pasadena?
About 10 miles.
Oh, we'll be there in no time. Well, here we are in Pasadena. Only took us an hour and a half.
That's pretty good time.
You're darn right, considering we had to change a tire.
Yeah. Where can I wash this grease off my hands?
Let's wipe it on this rag. Say, the way the traffic is getting thicker, we must be getting... Rochester, why are you stopping?
There's an officer at the intersection. He isn't letting anyone through.
Say, that's Colorado Boulevard. That's the one the parade comes down.
Gee, she's right. Hey, look, here comes a float.
Where?
Right over there. It's the official Tournament of Roses float.
And look at the 4 drum majors riding on it.
Yeah, I think they're going to sing.
When you hear that drumming, you will know we're coming, and the lucky strikes are on parade. There's never a slip, and we never trip, so perfect are we made. You can hear that beat coming down the street, you ought to guess in step with Lucky Strike. Yes, Lucky Strike is posted, it's the one cigarette you like. So round and firm and fully packed, and just as mild as it can be. Be happy and go Lucky Strike, and smoke and never Timothy. And when you hear that old American, every Tom and Dick and Harry can light a lucky and start popping it. Nothing beats a Lucky Strike, clean through and through. Much pressure too, so clear the way. It's Lucky Day. L-S-M-F-T. 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 For the full rich taste of fine tobacco you are sure to like. There's nothing half as good as puffin' on a Lucky Strike. L-S-M-F-T. L-S-M-F-T.
That was great, wasn't it? Now back up, Rochester. We better hurry and find a place to park.
I can't back up, boss. There's 50 cars lined up behind us.
Gee, we can't go forward either.
Well, we're not staying here, are we?
No, this is ridiculous. I'm going to talk to that officer. Maybe he'll let us go through. I'll be right back. It certainly is crowded. I've never seen such a mob. Really have to fight your way through here.
Say, pardon me, mister. Did you see my wife?
Your wife?
Yeah, I can't find her anywhere. I've looked all over and I can't find her.
Oh, that's a shame.
But we've been married for 20 years. We got along so nice, and we never even had a fight. I just gotta find her.
Oh, I'm sure you'll find her. How long has she been missing?
19 years.
19 years, and you're still looking?
I just started. Wow, so long, buddy.
So long.
Chloe!
too bad. Some people really have their troubles. Now, where's that policeman? Oh, there he is. Say, officer. Officer.
What can I do for... Why, it's you, Mr. Benny.
Why, Mr. Kitzel. Mr. Kitzel, what are you doing in a policeman's uniform?
Arresting people, what else?
This is such a surprise. I mean, did you give up your other work?
No, this is in addition. Every year for this parade, I am a deputy.
Oh, I see. Do you like it?
It's very pleasant. Especially when my brother-in-law comes by. Last year, did I give him a ticket?
You really got him, huh?
I got him. I wrote him up for speeding, making a U-turn, loose brakes, had defective horn, and faulty headlights.
Hey, that must have cost him plenty.
It would have, but unfortunately, I couldn't make it stick.
Why not?
He was walking.
Mr. Kitzel, that's my car over there. How about letting me cross the street?
I really shouldn't, but for a friend I can do a favor.
Then you mean I can drive through?
Yes, but you got to hurry. It's between floats.
Okay, and thanks a lot, Mr. Kitzel. I'll see you later. Happy New Year.
It's a day late, but I'll accept it.
Come on, Rochester. Rochester, he's letting us through.
Okay.
Make it snappy so we can get across. Rochester, what happened?
The motor died.
But we're in the middle of Colorado Boulevard.
And here come the floats.
Oh, my goodness. Listen, Rochester, step on the starter.
I'm stepping.
Good, you got it started.
No, I didn't.
Then how come we're moving?
A float is pushing us.
What?
Smile, boss, smile. We're in the parade.
Gee, if I'd known this, I would have worn my bathing suit.
Oh, be quiet and stop blowing kisses. Oh, fine. We had to get with one of the loudest band yet.
Say, we must be going under a tree. A bird's nest just fell in my lap.
That's mine that blew off. This is the most embarrassing thing that's ever... Hey, the float stopped. Quick, Rochester, do something.
I'll try.
Step back and stop laughing. It's not funny. Go ahead, Rochester. Step on the starter again.
Just a second. I'm connecting this loose wire.
Okay.
Say, Mommy.
What is it?
What kind of car is that?
I don't know. It must be a foreign make.
Madam, it's not a foreign make. This is an American car.
Not so loud. I want my boy to be proud of his country.
Look, madam.
Now, come on, Whitney. We've got to go.
Mommy, I think you made him mad. He threw a bird's nest at us.
My, what a strange way for General Ridgway to act.
Rochester, there must be something you can do.
Hang on, here we go again.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
Happy New Year, everybody. Gee, I haven't had this much fun since I got caught in a revolving door with Errol Flynn.
Why do these things always happen to me? I just wanted to see the parade. I didn't want to be in it.
You might as well relax and enjoy yourself. We've got 3 hours to go.
Maybe you're right. Rochester, sit up straight and put your hands on the wheel.
What for?
If we're going through with this, at least let everyone think that we're pulling the float. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year. Ladies and gentlemen, one of our greatest national hazards is fire. Fire that destroys millions of dollars worth of property and takes thousands of lives each year. Don't let your home be a fire trap. Make certain all electrical appliances are in order. Don't smoke in bed. Be careful with inflammables. Don't give fire a place to start. Thank you.
Jack will be back in just a minute, but first, let's take a listen to the Lucky Strike toasting song again.
If you want better taste from your cigarette, Lucky Strike is the brand to get. It's toasted to give you the best taste. Yet it's the toasted cigarette. They taste fine tobacco. It's light tobacco. It's mild tobacco too. And it's toasted. Yes, it's toasted. 'Cause the toasting brings the flavor right through. So to get better taste from your cigarette, Lucky Strike is the brand to get. It's toasted to give you the best taste. Yet it's the toasted cigarette.
That's the Lucky Strike story set to music. The facts are all there. A Lucky is the cigarette of fine tobacco. LSMFT, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Naturally mild, good-tasting tobacco. And then that fine tobacco is toasted to taste better. It's toasted is the famous Lucky Strike process that brings a Lucky's fine tobacco to its peak of flavor. The process that tones up a Lucky's naturally good-tasting tobacco to make it taste even better, cleaner, fresher, smoother. So, friends, smoke the cigarette of fine tobacco that's toasted to taste better. Be happy. Go Lucky.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of my sponsor and my entire staff, I want to wish all of you a Happy New Year. Of course, everybody will be a year older, but not me. Good night, folks.
Program is written by Sam Perrin, Milt Josephsberg, George Balzer, John Tackerberry, Al Gordon, Hal Goldman, and produced and transcribed by Hilliard Marks.
Filter smokers, here's the true tobacco taste you've been looking for. Filter Tip Tarleton gives you all the full, rich flavor of Tarleton's famous quality tobacco, and real filtration, too. Filter Tip Tarleton incorporates activated charcoal, renowned for its unusual powers of selective filtration and used far and wide to purify the air we breathe, the water and beverages we drink. Look for the red, white, and blue stripes on the package. They identify Filter Tip Tarleton, the best in filtered smoking.
The Jack Benny program is brought to you by the American Tobacco Company, America's leading manufacturer of cigarettes.
Yes, we can't ignore our wives, can we?
No, but I have no respect for a man who doesn't try.
From comedy to sci-fi.
Adventures in time and space. Told in future tense.
You're listening to Old Time Radio USA.
Now let's get back to where we were, which is about as boring a place as I can think of.
The Signal Oil Program, The Whistler. That whistle is your signal for the Signal Oil Program, The Whistler.
am the Whistler. And I know many things, for I walk by night. I know many strange tales hidden in the hearts of men and women who have stepped into the shadows. Yes, I know the nameless terrors of which they dare not speak.
Yes, friends, it's time for the Signal Oil program, The Whistler. Rated tops in popularity for a longer period of time than any other West Coast program in radio history. And Signal gasoline is tops, too. Tops in quality. It takes extra quality, you know, to give you extra mileage. And Signal is the famous Go Farther gasoline. So look for the Signal Circle sign in yellow and black that identifies friendly dealer-owned Signal stations from Canada to Mexico. And now the Whistler's strange story. The first year.
The story of Lydia Winters falls naturally into two parts, separated by exactly 1 year, almost to the minute. Her marriage to Elliot Larkin ended, of course, on New Year's Eve, somewhere around midnight at a place called Silver Lake Lodge. The circumstances surrounding its ending are a matter of record now in the files of the police department, Homicide Division. The beginning is another story, a personal one. Just a year before, early on New Year's morning, Lydia Winters had stood at the door of her uncle's apartment with Elliot, listening to the whistles ushering in the new year.
Darling.
Huh?
Listen.
It's official now, a brand new year.
Brand new life.
I better go in now, Elliot.
Look, Lydia, let's go together. You can speak your piece and I'll back
I've
you up.
already told you I want to talk to Uncle Philip alone, darling.
Oh, but why waste New Year's Eve? Good Lord, woman, it'll only take a minute to
I
tell
love
the old
you,
boy.
dear, and I'm going to marry you. But you might as well learn right now, when I make up my mind, I mean it.
So Marty tells me.
Poor Marty.
Yeah, poor Marty. Looked like you hit him with a poleaxe when you told him tonight.
He'll get over it. They all do.
I wonder if we will.
Maybe. But it'll be fun while it lasts.
Lydia, why are you marrying me?
Oh, you dance well, you're good looking, you have charm of a sort, and of course...
My money.
Your money. I'm tired of depending on Uncle Philip.
Ah, you're a worldly woman.
But very practical. Kiss me, darling. Good night, Elliot.
I'll pick you up tomorrow at noon.
Mm-hmm.
We can be married in Greenville and run up to Silver Lake Lodge for a couple of weeks, huh?
You're so capable, darling. All figured out for me.
Yeah, except Uncle Philip.
Just leave Uncle Philip to me, dear. Good night.
Good night. Happy New Year.
Well, Uncle Philip.
Oh, it's you.
You old darling, waiting up for me?
There's a very good reason, Lydia. I want to talk to you. Seriously, for once.
Oh, and I know just what it's about. You don't approve of Elliot, do you, dear? You think he's a fortune hunter, irresponsible, unworthy of me. And I'm so hard and thoughtless and gullible.
You through?
Yes.
Good. Then please understand this. If I have any concern about Elliot Larkin, it's on his account and not yours.
Is that so?
Exactly. In the proper hands, he might understand you, grow up into a decent human being. With you, he hasn't a chance.
Now, wait a minute. If you think you can tell
let me finish. That's beside the point anyway. You're just like your mother was, Lydia. The same selfishness, the same abysmal ignorance of the true meaning of marriage. You're not in love with this man. He's not in love with you.
You're pretty sure of yourself, aren't you?
Of course I'm sure. To get to the point, Lydia, I will not approve your marriage to Elliot Larkin or any other man until you indicate some small understanding of what the word means, until you're able to look upon it as a sacred contract instead of an adventure.
I see. Now, I'd be grateful if you'd step off the soapbox while I tell you something. I don't care what you think.
Listen to me, Lydia.
I'm through listening to you. I'm of age, Uncle Philip. Tomorrow afternoon, I'm marrying Elliot, whether you approve or not. I don't care about you or your money or anything else. It's my life, and I intend to live it as I please. I'm leaving at noon tomorrow, Uncle Philip, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Nothing I can do about it, eh? Yeah.
Hello?
Ballinger?
Yes?
Phil Ridgely. I hate to get you up, old man.
Oh, not at all. New Year's, you know. We're having a little party.
I want to see you right away, Ballinger, about my will.
Oh. How about tomorrow morning?
I said right away. Now.
Good Lord, Phil. You can't do a thing like this now.
Why not?
Why, it's vicious. If there was any chance for success of Lydia's marriage, it's destroyed by this thing. You can't play with people's lives as if they were puppets.
It's my money, Ballinger. I can do with it what I please. Now get this again. The new will is to provide that if Lydia and Elliot Larkin live together as man and wife under the same roof for a period of 10 years, they are to receive the principal legacy of $500,000 jointly, or half to each other as they may choose. That failing, it goes to the Children's Relief Fund. Got that?
That's clear enough.
Now, if at any time during those 10 years, either one of them die by any means, the entire sum is payable to the survivor immediately.
Now, look here, Philip. I realize I'm in no position to question your moral code, but this thing is fiendish. Why, it'll set them at each other's throats.
Perhaps it will, Ballinger. Perhaps it will. It's a sort of a test, you know. If I'm right, if the marriage means nothing to either of them, it will destroy them. On the other hand, if I'm wrong, it will be a real reward.
Yes, but don't you see? It's not a will, Philip. It's a weapon.
Maybe. I know I won't live to see it work out. But you'll see it, Ballinger. You're to acquaint them with the provisions the moment I die. There's a comfortable retainer in there for you to see it's followed to the letter. You know, I envy you, Ballinger. It should prove very interesting.
With the prologue of the first year, the Signal Oil Company is bringing you another strange story by The Whistler. But now, a brief suggestion to help you enjoy new driving pleasure during the new year. To be sure of the tops in gasoline quality, there are just two things to remember. One, in gasoline, it takes extra quality to go farther. And two, Signal is the famous Go Farther gasoline. And now, back to The Whistler.
Yes, Lydia, it began on a New Year's Eve at a party with Elliot Larkin, when suddenly, impetuously, you decided that here was the answer to Uncle Philip's tyranny, an avenue to freedom. And it's worked out fairly well, hasn't it? It's not a storybook marriage, of course, but you didn't expect that. Still, Elliot is fairly presentable, reasonable, and charming, and you're sure he's wealthy enough to keep you well-dressed and entertained. And until something better comes along, you're content. It was an evening in October that changed all that. The two of you had just arrived home from a football game.
Old Johnny Gates. Can you imagine running into him that way?
I felt like a lost sheep with the two of you huddled together all
Well, I haven't seen him since college. Oh, here, let me take your coat. There. It was a lucky break running into him that way, you know?
Where are the cigarettes?
Oh, just a minute. Oh, here you are. Catch.
Thanks. What do you mean, lucky break? You didn't pay any attention to the game.
Well, he's leaving his job. He's going to the Orient.
Oh?
Yeah, he represents some cordial outfit, liqueurs, that sort of thing, you know. Well, I mean, that's the job he's leaving, and it's a pretty good job.
What's that got to do with you?
He says he'll recommend me to replace him if I want it.
You mean you're going to work?
Well, why not? I can't be a playboy all my life, you know.
Elliot. Elliot, darling, what in the world got into your head?
What's so funny, huh?
Elliot, you working. Oh.
Yeah, well, you better answer the phone.
Yeah, excuse me. Hello?
Mrs. Larkin?
Yes?
This is Mr. Ballinger, your uncle's lawyer.
I'm not at home to my uncle, Mr. Ballinger. You can tell him
Just a minute, Mrs. Larkin. I'm calling to tell you that your uncle passed away this afternoon.
I see.
It's my duty as his executor to read to you the terms of his will.
Who is it, honey?
Just a minute, please. Uncle Philip's dead. Something about the will.
Oh, let me talk to him.
I'll handle it. Mr. Ballinger, perhaps you don't quite understand my relationship with Uncle Philip.
Wait a minute.
Elliot.
Give me that phone
What
now.
do you think you're doing?
It's time I knock some sense into your head, Angel. You may as well know it now. We're broke.
We're what?
Oh, as close to it as you can get without selling the furniture. That's why I took Johnny up on the job.
Hello?
You had money. A lot of it just...
Never mind that now. You just tell Mr. Ballinger we'll be glad to talk to him. You hear? Go on, take the phone.
Hello? Hello, Mr. Ballinger.
Yes?
We'll be over right away.
How'd it taste, dear?
What?
Humble pie.
I'm not in the mood for that sort of thing, Elliot. Why didn't you tell me you were broke?
You didn't ask. You just went along with what everyone believed about the lock and
You think that was fair to me?
Well, it works two ways, Angel. After all, I was under the impression your Uncle Philip's worldly goods were practically in your pocket.
I see. Well, I guess I'd better make this clear, Elliot. I don't love you. I never did.
Oh, now take it easy.
And bright and early tomorrow morning, I'm leaving this house and I'm not coming back.
Really? Well, I'm going to miss you terribly. Where are you going?
Does it matter very much?
No, not really. Tomorrow's up to you, Lydia. Tonight, on the other hand...
I'll see Mr. Ballinger alone.
We're going together, darling. Somehow I'm just a little curious about your uncle's will.
You mean this thing forces us to love each other?
More or less. That is, if you want the money. You will live together under the same roof for 10 years.
Yes, I heard it the first time, Ballinger. Now, are you sure it'll hold up under probate?
It's quite legal, if that's what you mean.
Naturally. You didn't know Uncle Philip very well, Elliot. Most efficient man in the world.
Well, that's it. If there are any questions, Lydia?
No, it's all very clear. Well, come on, Elliot.
Well, then, good night. Good night, Larkin.
Night.
Amusement, Elliot, or the beginning of hysteria?
A little of each, I suppose. You know, you must admit the old boy had a sense of humor.
Must I?
10 years, 9 to go. Well, I guess there was a time when I'd be willing to do anything for $500,000. Right now, I don't know.
It won't make any real difference, Elliot. I want that money. You live your life, I'll live mine. No questions, no answers.
Except to the watchdog.
Ballinger? Yes, we can handle him.
I suppose it's worth a try. All right, dear, what's the first move?
Your friend, Johnny Gates.
Johnny?
You'll need that job now. You have a wife and home to support. Remember?
At that moment, you're forced to admit something to yourself, aren't you, Lydia? That Uncle Philip was right. That your marriage to Elliot Larkin is a farce, a hollow, mocking thing that was never meant to be. And there's something else, Lydia. The strange will. As the weeks pass, you know it for what it really is. An instrument of torture. A weapon striking back at you from the grave. Yes, Uncle Philip might as well be alive and laughing at you, telling you that you can't win. But through it all, you're determined that somehow, some way, you'll defeat Philip on his own ground. Then on New Year's Eve, the night marking your first year together, Elliot calls you at the apartment.
Yes?
Lydia, I thought you might be interested. I've got that job.
Johnny's?
Yeah, he's giving it up, leaving right away.
Oh, nice. Tonight I can drink champagne that's paid for.
Oh, about that. I won't be able to make dinner until later. I'm helping Johnny celebrate.
Oh, don't worry about that. I meant to tell you we can skip the dinner plans. I'm meeting Marty Bell at the Zebra Club.
Marty Bell, huh? Well, true love never dies. Good old Marty.
Don't tell me you object, darling. I'll see you tomorrow, Elliot.
You'll see me tonight if you insist on going there with Bell. I'll come down to the Zebra Club.
And what? Don't play the jealous husband, Elliot. That's really overdoing it. Goodbye.
Lydia!
Marty, you're very amusing.
But I mean it, Lydia. I love you.
Does anyone really mean that?
I want you to go away with me, Lydia. Leave Elliot.
Please, Marty. Trying to break up the perfectly matched, adoring Larkin.
It isn't breaking anything up, and you know it. You're not fooling me, Lydia.
Stop it, Marty.
You don't care a hang for Elliot.
I said stop it.
Hello.
There's someone coming over to our table, an old friend.
Really? I don't see anyone
Mr. Ballinger. What an unexpected surprise.
Yes, I dare say.
I'd like you to meet Marty Bell, an old friend of Elliot's.
Oh.
Marty, Mr. Ballinger.
How do you do, Mr.
Marty's
Ballinger?
keeping me company while I wait for Elliot, but he has an appointment. Maybe you'd sit in for a while, Mr. Ballinger.
Glad to, but...
Then Marty won't have to waste any more time.
I'm not wasting time, Lydia.
All right, you've been a dear, Marty. I'll tell Elliot now. Run along.
Nice to meet you, Bill. Yeah, same here. Goodbye, Lydia.
Bye, Marty, and thanks so much. He's such a dear.
Lydia, I've been intending to bring this up for some time. I've been disturbed about things that I've been hearing.
Things? What things?
About you and Elliot.
Oh?
You know, when there's any sign of trouble between you, you're on dangerous ground.
Why, Mr. Ballinger, I don't know what you're talking about. We're getting along beautifully.
Where is Elliot, Lydia? It's New Year's Eve. You two should be together.
Well, of course we should, but the night's only beginning, Mr. Ballinger. Why, I talked to Elliot only a little while ago. He's going to be here.
Do you mind if I wait?
I know. I'd appreciate it if you would. Wait, there he is now. He just came in. Would you excuse me a minute? I'll tell him where we are. Excuse me?
Well, sure.
Would you let me through, please?
Oh, sure. I'm sorry, lady.
Pardon me, please.
It's okay.
Elliot!
Oh, there you are. Where's Marty? I want to talk to him.
He's not here, Elliot. Come over to the table with me.
He ran out, huh?
I sent him away. Ballinger's here.
Ballinger?
Smile, darling. He's looking right at us.
What? Oh.
Would you let us through, please?
Yeah, excuse us.
Thank you.
We're sorry.
Right here, darling. Right here. Well, here he is, Mr. Ballinger, my stray lamb. Dear, you remember Mr. Ballinger?
Hello, Larkin.
Yes, how are you, Ballinger?
Sit down, my boy. I just ordered a round of drinks.
Why, how nice.
If you'll permit me, I'd like to offer a toast on your anniversary. 1 year, isn't it?
That's right.
Ah, one beautiful year.
Yes. Well, we can drink to that, and of course to your future. May you remain as happy as you are tonight.
Right now, Lydia, as you lift your glass and touch it to the others, listen to Ballinger's hollow toast. You realize that this can't go on, that 9 more years seem impossible. But it's impossible, too, Lydia, to sacrifice the money, isn't it? The money. The defeat of Uncle Philip on his own ground is uppermost in your mind. All you can think of an hour later as you sit beside Elliot in the car.
I hope Mr. Ballinger doesn't think it odd, our leaving so early.
I explained to him. I have to drive a friend to the airport.
Oh? Johnny Gates?
Yeah, he's flying to Seattle on the midnight plane. What I didn't tell Ballinger is that I'm going too.
You're what?
Got my ticket, suitcase in the back.
Elliot, you can't do this.
Why not?
Because of what it might mean. Ballinger's suspicious now. What'll he think when he hears you've gone flying off somewhere on our anniversary?
Does that matter?
Of course it matters. It's got the power to cancel everything. You can't do it, Elliot. Wait a few days at least.
I'm sorry. It's my first assignment on the new job. The company expects me to wire them from Seattle in the morning.
Why did you agree to such a thing?
Maybe I've had all I can stand, Lydia.
For $500,000, don't be a fool, Elliot. Look, I'll do anything you say. I'll stay away from Marty. Anything, Elliot, just give me a chance.
Well, another helping.
What?
Same humble pie.
Oh, Elliot, please be reasonable.
Oh, Johnny's expecting me. Lydia, I don't see how I can change things now. I'm supposed to be there.
Oh, there must be a way, Elliot. You'll regret this yourself. I know you will.
Well, I wonder.
What? What are you thinking?
Maybe Johnny can help us. Come on up with me. We'll talk to him.
Maybe I'm a little dumb tonight, Elliot. Give me another rundown on that, will you?
Well, now, look, Johnny, it's simple. I'd just like an extra day here, that's all. You're flying north anyway. Couldn't you send that wire for me?
To cover you with the company?
That's right. Now, you see, that way Lydia and I can be together on our anniversary, and I'll be up there in a day or two.
Well, I don't suppose there'll be much doing over the holiday anyway.
Oh, not a thing. It's just that I don't want to beg off on my first assignment.
No, that wouldn't be so good. Okay, pal, I'll handle it.
Oh, swell.
Johnny, I appreciate this, too.
Forget it. Elliot's done plenty for me.
Oh, Johnny, there's one more thing. I don't like the idea of turning in my plane ticket. You know, just in case the company should check.
Oh, I don't think they will.
I'd rather not take a chance. Now, look, if it doesn't matter to you, you're leaving the company anyway, couldn't you turn yours back and go in my place all the way through?
Well, if you'll feel safer.
Well, Johnny, I really would.
Okay, let's have it. Say, I'll even check into your hotel for you.
Oh, fine.
We better get going.
Yeah, right away.
Well, I'll finish packing. Be with you in a minute.
Satisfied, Lydia?
Perfectly.
Look, as long as we're going to make it look good to Ballinger, maybe we can go the whole hog.
How do you mean?
Well, after we drop Johnny at the airport, how about driving up to Silver Lake Lodge?
Wonderful.
Remember the first time we were there? A brand new year, a brand new life.
I remember it perfectly, Elliot. I'd love to go. I think it's exactly what Mr. Ballinger would like.
Well, Lydia, for the moment you've won. But the worry of the future is on your mind, driving down to the airport and watching Johnny Gates off on Flight 27. And all the way up to Silver Lake Lodge, you wonder about those 9 long years ahead. It isn't going to be easy, Lydia, but somehow you're determined to make Elliot continue to see it your way. A few miles below the lodge, you ask him to stop at a roadside store.
Sounds like they're having quite a time down in New Orleans.
Yeah?
I just want to get some cigarettes, Elliot. I'll be right back.
Take your time.
Yes, ma'am?
A pack of cigarettes, please.
Take your pick.
Oh, these'll do. Here you are.
Yeah, thanks.
A brief announcement, then back to the New Year's round-the-town celebration. Flight 27 of Fearless Airlines, northbound for Seattle, crashed and burned in an unexplained accident 1 hour ago. All on board were killed.
That news comes suddenly, doesn't it, Lydia? The answer to everything. To Elliot, the money, everything. Yes, Lydia, Elliot was on that plane, even if it was in name only. At this very moment, as he waits for you in the car outside, he's officially dead, certainly unidentifiable. And the words of Uncle Philip's will keep running through your mind.
If at any time either Lydia or Elliot Larkin die, the entire sum is payable immediately to the survivor.
You know how simple it can be now, Lydia. Yes, as you close the door behind you, walk through the bracing mountain air to the car, you realize that here is the opportunity of a lifetime. Freedom from Elliot and all of the $500,000 for yourself. And looking at Elliot relaxed, waiting for you, you know you're going to kill him tonight.
Sorry to keep you waiting.
Oh, it's all right.
Just as I went into the store, there was some sort of news flash on the radio. You hear it?
News flash? No, some other station, probably.
Yes, I suppose so.
Hey, I was enjoying that. New Year's Eve in New Orleans.
Please, I'd like it quiet. We'll be up at the cabin in a few minutes. Right now, I want to think.
Of course you want to think, Lydia, of the loaded target pistol in the gun case at the cabin, of how lonely it is there, of how easy it'll be to dispose of Elliot's body in that wilderness. Less than an hour later, you're at the cabin, ready to put your plan in operation. The pistol is just beneath your hand, stuck between the sofa cushions as you sit before the fire Elliot has built for the occasion. You steady your nerves and...
Elliot,
Just a minute, dear. I'm fixing the drinks.
hurry it up, will you?
You're tense now, bracing yourself. You'll wait until he's moved around and is standing right in front of you, holding the drinks on the tray. That way it can't go wrong.
Around this way, darling. Right near the fire.
The Whistler will return in just a moment with the strange ending to tonight's story. Meantime, for Signal Oil Company and the almost 2,000 Signal dealers throughout the states of California, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Nevada, and Arizona, I want to wish you a very happy 1948. May your new year be filled with peace, prosperity, and the good health with which to enjoy these blessings. And now back to the Whistler.
Yes, the marriage of Lydia Winters Larkin ended in murder on a New Year's Eve. at a place called Silver Lake Lodge, where she and her husband Elliot had spent their honeymoon just a year before. There's a complete record now in the files of the Homicide Division. A record of a detective's curiosity over the crash of a northbound airplane and the supposed death of a passenger named Elliot Larkin. Of an investigation that led to a quick arrest and a complete confession. At police headquarters, Mr. Ballinger, the attorney, was remarkably philosophical as the lieutenant read the whole amazing story from a hurriedly prepared transcript of the confession.
I can't say that I'm surprised, Lieutenant. I was afraid from the beginning that Philip's will would lead to something like that.
Yes, the will, of course, gives us a solid motive. Although we already figured we'd find something like that. Oh, there's one more paragraph to the confession. You want to hear it?
Yes, read on, please.
Well, it goes on to say, once I knew that Johnny Gates was on that northbound plane traveling as Elliot Larkin, the way seemed perfectly clear. As soon as we got to the cabin, I got hold of a gun and waited for my opportunity. The first chance I had, I pulled the trigger twice without any warning, and it was all over. And then there's the signature, of course.
The only thing I don't understand, Lieutenant, is how you were able to make the arrest so quickly.
A good hunch on the part of one of the boys. You see, when he found out that Larkin was due up in Seattle on that new job, he flew up there as a matter of routine. Well, after that, of course, the arrest was over. Oh, they're bringing in the prisoner now. Do you want to...
Yes, I'll stay.
All right, Sergeant. In here.
I don't know how you ever expect to get by with this, Larkin.
Does that matter now? With Johnny Gates traveling in my name, I thought I had a perfect alibi. So I killed her.
And until our man walked in on you in Seattle, you still didn't know that your alibi had blown up in that plane.
Yeah. Funny thing, too. That night in the car, Liddy asked me if I'd heard a news flash. It must have been about that plane. I wonder why she didn't tell me.
That whistle be your signal for the Signal Oil program, The Whistler. Each Wednesday night at this same time, brought to you by the Signal Oil Company, marketers of Signal gasoline and motor oil and fine quality automotive accessories. Because this is New Year's Eve, the safety message with which we have closed every Whistler program during the past year has even more significance tonight. To get the most driving pleasure, drive at sensible speeds, be courteous, and obey traffic regulations. It may save a life, possibly your own. Featured in tonight's story were Betty Lou Gerson and Gerald Moore. Whistler was produced by George W. Allen with story by Joel Malone and Harold Swanton and music by Wilbur Hatch, and was transmitted to our troops overseas by the Armed Forces Radio Service. Next Wednesday, for a full hour of mystery over most of these stations, tune in a half hour earlier. Enjoy The Saint as well as The Whistler. This is Marvin Miller speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Classic old-time radios all day long, right here. Old Time Radio USA.